Gambit has been in this so long, so it would feel weird to not have them there. I mean, they have been such a huge part of esports and somebody that I looked up to when I started playing.
Once again, everyone, I'm Joe Miller along with Martin DeFisciolunga, and welcome back to the action. We're going to get straight into things as well as Gambit head off against Millenium. Yesterday, we finally saw Gambit end their miserable run of 11 straight losses, and whilst it's come too late in the day to push them to playoffs, they could still tie with the Copenhagen Wolves. But to do so, they need to win both of their remaining games in Super Week, and the Wolves need to lose to the Super Hot Crew tomorrow. And let's not forget, we've already seen Gambit lose one game today against Alliance.
So if we just look at the game against Alliance, they were actually hitting kills and played pretty well. They just lost every single objective to Alliance. They fell behind in gold, and in the end of the game, they were too far behind. They ended up losing the game. But I still like the fact we see Gambit play more aggressive, more confident. They actually go into the fights here. We had the very early 4-for-2 exchange actually in favor of Gambit at like level 1, level 2 here, which is nice to see. They want to go in, they want to make some plays. And also the tactic we saw from Gambit yesterday was new. They had a lot of focus all of a sudden on ganking the bot lane with Diamond and Kuban with teleport, and it paid off. Genja picked up a lot of kills. He ended up carrying the game. I believe he went 7-0. Which is great, and not something we have seen from Genja in a long time because he's been stuck on his Caitlyn pick where he didn't really do anything. And also, they really played the poke comp they had yesterday. I would almost say to perfection. They had very good wall control, and they always set up objectives by poking down the walls before starting it. So, very good game yesterday, and very aggressive game today.
Well, on the other side, we saw Millenium losing out to a return-to-form SK Gaming. They finally decided as well that it was time to let Kassadin slip through the bans and first picked it on the blue side.
So that Kassadin, that Tristana for Creaton and Maokai top lane adds a lot of late-game power. However, your mid-game is very, very weak all of a sudden. They did have a good start. They got 2 early kills on Freddy, but then they simply lost all control of the game. Creaton was completely shut down. We saw SK Gaming sent Freddy and Svenska down to just tower dive him and kill him. And he actually sat on a static shift for the first Dragon fight, where Candy Panda had a Trinity Force. Not really a fair fight, and also why SK Gaming won the fight, took pretty much a goal lead and kept it for the entire game and just destroyed Millenium in just a matter of 28-30 minutes. And now, for me, the weird, or the unlucky thing, we could say, for Millenium is the fact they lose to a potential quarterfinal opponent. So it could have hurt the confidence going into the quarterfinals. But Millenium is a team who kind of looks back on the games and laugh if they lose and say, okay, let's just fix whatever mistake we have and then move on.
Well, we'll find out here shortly if they've moved on from that one. Let's check out the starting lineups for this game. On the blue side today, it's Gambit Gaming with Kuban in the top lane, Diamond in the jungle, Nick in the mid lane, Genja on AD carry, and Edward the support.
On the red side, we do have Millenium with Kevin in the top lane, Codnex in the jungle, Kerberos the mid laner, Creaton on AD carry, and of course Jerry as the support.
So let's get a report then from LOLesports.com and see who you guys have predicted to take Game 5 today. With 74% of the vote, you've chosen Millenium. Almost 3/4, and when you look at form, it's easy to see why.
Well, yes. Still, we see more votes for Gambit now. They've been under 20% for the last few games here, but now moving up a little bit. Been looking better in the Super Week, and it should just be a good sign for Gambit leading into the promotion tournament if they can keep improving and then actually re-qualify.
So let's talk about bans and picks then and what's going to get through. Millenium, we've said it already, they managed to get their hands on Kassadin. Didn't work out the way that they maybe would have been expecting. They're on the red side today as well, which you'd expect means then a Kassadin ban at least.
Yeah, Kassadin ban from Millenium should be pretty obvious. I wonder if they want to actually target Nick with the bans, because I do believe Gambit will look towards Curb. Fizz could be a ban, Twisted Fate, we have seen it being banned against Curb before. And then of course we have to look at Gragas top lane. Kuban played it yesterday. Great TPs, great ults. There was one he missed the entire game. Everything else hit perfectly. Definitely should or could be a ban for Millenium. Otherwise, we know Kuban is going to first pick it. And then we have to see what they actually want to counter it with.
So I want to pose a question about the AD carries, because you talked about Genja moving on to, or moving away really from Caitlyn. Obviously, Lucian is disabled right now. Is it worth taking away the Cogmore to put Genja back onto that pick that's not been so successful?
Well, hopefully he would just lock in a Corki, and we did see him play Tristana earlier.
True.
A bit of a different style, maxed his W and jumped into people, but still it was very manly. Just didn't win them the game anyway.
Well, let's find out here as the bans are starting to come through then. So Fizz taken away against Kerp. No real surprise there. Lee Sin also away from Cotton X on the other side. That's that red side casted in ban. And taking Oriana away from Gambit's mid laner.
So they banned Oriana yesterday against SK Gaming as well. So clearly don't want to deal with this lane bully and also, of course, the very strong team fight she brings. The Fizz ban, however, very standard against Kerp. He was the first guy in Europe to actually play it, and Overpower joined in. He wanted to play it as well. Teleport we've seen. Fnatic play it as well. Now become a standard ban, to be honest.
Along with those bans, we see the final one from Gambit will be Zillion and Evelyn taking away a common ban against Diamond.
So Gragas is open, and yeah, as you just said, Evelyn is banned against Diamond pretty much every single game. Even though he has shown a lot of other junglers, they keep banning Evelyn. With Lee Sin gone as well, there is an Elise option for Cotton X, but we've also seen his Rengar, which was very good for 15 minutes, and then it was complete garbage.
For the rest.
We'll
see. We'll see about that one. We did see, however, the Gragas being locked in. As you mentioned, Kubon, in that win yesterday for Gambit, was in the right place at the right time so often. That bottom lane fight that we showed in a replay yesterday was really well done from Kubon.
It was just Gambit Gaming putting full focus on helping Genja and Edward. So every time they were pressured around their own tower, Kubon would TP down, join in for whatever fight was happening, and make sure Gambit won it, got a few kills, could take the dragon as well. They took 4 out of 5 dragons yesterday, which is very new for this Gambit lineup to actually get the dragons in the game, get the objective gold. So it was a very, very important pick. Should, however, mean we could see a Maokai from Kevin. It's a lane where both of them should be able to farm, and then Maokai will come this tanky beast in the late game where Gragas normally builds some AP.
On the other side then, for Millenium, they did decide to take Elise away here, so something different maybe for Diamond to consider this time around, although it's been going back a lot to Kha'Zix as well, we have to say. Also, they took Tristana for Creaton.
Okay, so very, very nice pick for Creaton here. Tristana has become the new safe AD carry, which you can just instant lock in the first rotation because you are so good in the laning phase. Your mid game, yes, we always talk about how you go downhill a little bit, you're a bit weak in the mid game, but then as soon as you get to late game points, you are strong again. And with Elise, already got some good tower pushing potential here because Elise is one of the only junglers who are actually ranged and can then push up waves, get a few hits on the tower here. And if Gambit takes away Maokai here, it's simply to make sure Kevin doesn't lock it in for the top lane. And it's actually very smart as long as Diamond can play properly.
And as long as they maybe lock that one in.
Very true.
Well, they've switched back to it, so Maokai taken away. Does that as well mean that we may see a possible Maokai top lane support Gragas?
Oh,
even?
yes. Yes. Very, very nice spotted there, Joe. Because we have seen Edward play Gragas support. He was the first guy to do it in Europe as well and had actually quite some success with it. Very aggressive laning phase. Like he wants to play the lane, he always wants to go in your face. So could definitely be Gragas support here.
Also saw Ziggs picked up here for Nick. And we've seen he likes these safer mid laners as well. In fact, played the Gragas yesterday, the Ziggs in their win yesterday over the Copenhagen Wolves. Actually ended up 9-2-5 as well on that good performance. On the other side though, for Millenium, their next 2 picks have been locked in. We're going to see Yasuo coming out and also Braum for support.
So we did see Kevin play Yasuo against Gragas top lane back when Millenium played against Copenhagen Wolves, and they had a Zillion mid lane, Yasuo top lane. Zillion is of course banned away, so not an option this time, but could still be the top lane Yasuo we have seen before. And it's actually fine against Gragas in lane. He can farm against him. Against Maokai, should also be pretty easy for him to farm because Maokai is not the strongest laner.
So, Rammus, an option, we have to say, since Diamond has actually played it before. Cogmore, we're pretty secure on that one. You know, we never want to fall into Eddie's trap of, you know, talking about what he's hovering over. But it will be a Cogmore locked in then for Genja, what we were expecting really coming in.
And it seems like we are actually going to get the support Gragas because Edward is looking at Kha'Zix at the moment. And Diamond really seems to favor it. And he loves to just max his W, evolve it, and poke. Poke kite all the time. When someone drops low, he jumps in, he finishes them with his Q. And then as soon as he's level 11, he gets the reset. And it's the way he wants to play it. It makes his ganks slightly weaker in terms of damage. And also his overall team fight damage before he hits the point where he actually involves his Q at level 16 is also weaker than we normally see from a Kha'Zix, but you have a lot of poke instead. and you can kite him. When you have a Ziggs and a Gragas, it's actually the same champions they had yesterday. You can just kite for days.
Yeah, pretty much the exact same lineup, really, across the board. Obviously bringing Maokai in there and moving the Gragas down to the support role for Edward. Over on Millenium side, though, their final choice here was Twisted Fate, so we will be seeing Kevin taking the Yasuo into the top lane.
And he does have a few knock-ups here, or knockbacks, from the bottom lane of Millenium, so good amount of setups for him. And then, of course, you have now at least Twisted Fate together to catch people off, get the CC down, Braum can follow up, and then you just blow people off with both Tristana and Yasuo. So Millenium, once again, as we normally see, going for the pick comp here, wanna catch Gambit out of position, and we see Gambit, same lineup as yesterday. Full focus on team fighting, poking, they need good ward control. Before objectives, they have to be grouped, zone Millenium away, land some poke, and once they are too low to actually fight, you get the objective from Gambit's side, and they can happily go back to the lanes and therefore get a goal lead. And just be very careful they don't split up, otherwise Kerp is going to get them.
So guys, did these champion picks make you want to switch your vote? Tweet to at LOL Esports, easy for me to say, with hashtag GMB win or hashtag MIL win. And we'll check once we get in game to see if those numbers have changed. What's the key here for Gambit? Because we saw earlier on they were super aggressive early on against Alliance. Yesterday it was more of a standard game, but they executed that one really well.
So, most importantly, don't fall behind in the laning phase. I know it's very easy to say don't fall behind, but when you play like a siege comp or a poke comp, if you do fall behind, you never really get the chance to group up and poke them because they can always engage onto you. There's a lot of engage options for Millenium here, so if they feel confident, they're just going to go straight for Gambit, fight them and win. If Gambit, however, gets ahead, Millenium are going to be scared. They're going to get poked down, they're going to lose objectives, and that's the way you can snowball the game.
Well, let's find out. We are going to go into game. It's our 5th match of the day as Gambit take on Millenium. And as I said before, Gambit have to win both of their remaining games. And the Wolves have to lose tomorrow if Gambit are to have a chance of playing a tiebreaker game to finish in 7th position with the Wolves. That'll be an interesting one, but a lot of work to do here, first of all, for Gambit, because Millenium generally recently have been the stronger of these two teams. I guess that's easy to say when Gambit are in the 8th position as well.
But we did also see Millenium yesterday struggle against SK Gaming. Never really got a lead. Had the first 2 kills, and then SK Gaming just took over the game. Millenium, which we have seen in the past when they do fall behind, because they play all these pick comps, have a very hard time actually coming back in the game. And if you are against, again, all the poke from the side of Gambit, if Millenium falls behind early, we might just see them lose all the objectives and in the end give up the game.
Diamond going to be a key factor in this one as well. We've seen 2 different sides of him. Edward might have to be a little careful. Yes, he's a Spiderling actually coming through and will then have fair warning to get away from that one. It was just to get the ward in actually from J-Reet, just so that they've got vision of that red buff area. You can see across the river, those wards have gone down fairly early. One in the tri-bush as well, right at the very start from Gambit, just to make sure that they've got any vision of any possible red invades. Gambit going to do almost identical over the other side of the map. And it looks like we're going to get off to a pretty standard start with these 2v2 lanes setting up in bottom.
So very, very standard. Kevin up in his top lane against Kubon. Should be able to do whatever he actually wants to in the laning phase here. Just get as much farm as possible, because normally he picks the Yasuo into a Gragas top lane, which is better in the laning phase than Maokai, and he actually does fine. So this time around he should still be able to get all the farm he wants, and then it's all about Kerp here. At level 6, is he gonna straight up try and set up a play down his bottom lane? Edward normally is very aggressive on Gragas. He's gonna body slam in your face, and he simply opens up for a stun from the Braum passive, and then Kerp joins in.
Got to be a little bit careful of how aggressive he goes down on that bottom side with the threat of that stun coming in. But those barrels, deceptive amounts of damage, I think, at the early stage, and especially once he gets that body slam in there, it's a lot of damage very quickly, even out of the support.
Yeah, and also you land it slow onto Creaton and makes it easier for Genji to just follow up here, keep hitting him with the long range he has whenever he activates the W. So this is actually a very strong lane from Gambit. And every time we do see it Gragas as well, Genji actually wins on farm. Normally it's paired with like Lucian or Caitlyn. This time around, Genji on something else once again.
Ogmore coming in for him this time. We see the junglers here just moving over onto their bottom sides. Cotton X, of course, started it on his red. The blue buff start for Diamond. This top lane then, we can see that Kuban already taken a fair bit of harassment out of Kevin. And those saplings, the only real thing that he's got to stop Kevin getting right up in his face. Oh, this could be dangerous. Edward actually not quite going to get stunned. Jerry was just trying to keep him away so that Creatine could get the farm.
And up in his top lane again, just to talk about what you just mentioned, what Kuban can do as Maokai is set up ganks really easily. Because again, Kevin will always be in his face, close to him. You can get the snare in, land slow, and then Diamond can follow up. We've seen it before as well from Gambit, where Diamond would go top lane first, just for the very first gank of the game. Either force a flash. He's actually going to do the exact same thing in this game here. Let's see if Kevin is ready. He's in a pretty good position, very close to his own tower. So Diamond shouldn't be able to do anything.
Yeah, no ward there for Kevin, but that wave is pushing his way as well, so no real need to be too far up the lane. See that Cotnex is actually on the top side of the jungle as well, just finishing off his, or just starting his golems there. So he would have been around for a potential counter gank if Diamond would have decided to stay. As it happens though, decided against that in the end. So he looked once again towards his bottom lane where Genja slightly edging Creatine out.
And we just see Edward constantly in the face of Millenium. He wants to make sure to hit him instead of hitting Genja. And he can then just sit back and farm like he loves to do. In his mid lane, Curb slightly behind. This is very expected, however, because Ziggs is such a lane bully. And normally we actually see Curb start Flask on Twisted Fate, simply to get the extra sustain. But decided to go Doran's Ring this time.
Starts Flask with a lot of different champions as well, especially, I mean, he's a guy who's not scared of getting into disfavorable matchups for him, that's for sure. He'll often go in with something that's going to struggle in lane and still do a fantastic job moving forward. Again, we see in the bottom lane, Jerry and Edward just butting heads there a little bit, but so far this Gragas support working out nicely for Gambit as once again Nick going to pile down some pressure and forces the flash out of Curb.
Very aggressive play here. Normally we see Nick just sit back and farm. He loves to go to his own Wraith camp, go back to mid lane, farm. This time around, playing very aggressive because again, Curb and Twisted Fate has some real issues in his mid lane and there's been no Cotnex to help him.
Has got himself the Chalice, which will help him out a little bit against Nick's pure aggression up until now. And we're actually seeing Gambit recalling already as they just push that one wave quite a bit out there, and that's going to be second Doran's Blade, Longsword, and Boots there as well for Genja.
Just very standard lane. Haven't seen a gank yet. Both junglers been to a lane, just looked, moved their way back into their own jungle. And actually just been farming very even here. Diamond, however, will steal some Wraith camps because Cotnex is back in base. So 1-0 Diamond.
Yeah, he gets the first stolen camp of this one. Kevin also going to put a nice deep river ward in there as well to stop Diamond simply sauntering on up there. And maybe a signal that Kevin wants to play a little more aggressive here as he picks up those Brawler's Gloves and the second Doran's Blade as well. Second Doran's Ring actually being picked up by Kuban. Didn't have TP. I didn't see where he used that. He must have been back twice there. Obviously TP in the last time that he came in. We'll see how he handles that one. Kevin himself obviously used TP to get back in lane. So, as you mentioned, pretty standard early farm lanes here. Not too much harass outside of that outside of that Curb flash from earlier on.
Notice here, Cotnex is actually building a Quill Coat on Elise. We have seen a lot of AP Elise lately. It's been like the new go-to item where you become very strong in the early to mid game with your ganks. When I was building Quill Coat, simply because it's only him and Jerry as the tanks. Kevin wants to go in. He's going to build full damage at least for the first 3 or 4 items. So he won't be able to take a lot of damage. So it's all about Cotnex and Jerry tanking up whatever poke, whatever AoE Gambit actually fires towards them. Even though it's pretty hard to tank up AoE, seeing as it's going to hit bottom.
See your first blue buffs of the game being given over to the mid laners as well. Nick just going to set that one up and get back off into lane. He's got a nice healthy lead, obviously forced Curb to flash away earlier on and just had a free time in the lane after that one. See now how Curb can handle it as he comes back in with that challenge. Is level 7 and we see him already starting to move down, I was going to say, towards the bottom lane, but just to get a ward in there for some extra protection. Kevin again going pretty deep through that minion wave, trying to get a bit of harassment onto Kuban, actually losing more health there than he did damage.
So just went in for very fast trade, didn't actually get a knock up or his ulti, and therefore Kuban could return a lot of damage to him. bottom lane once again. Oh, Kuban going in. Diamond is here.
And is Kevin going to be able to get away from this one? Slows her down. There's the ultimate coming out of Kevin. I'm not sure that he'll be able to get away. He's got a flash though. That might be a saving grace. Diamond flashes in, gets the slow. Can he finish him off? One more will do it. No, they can't get it. And Kevin somehow walks away. Curp is actually going to come up. They're going for Diamond here. Stun card has landed. The wild cards land. And first blood comes in. Kevin with a miracle escape. And Curp using the Destiny for the first time to get the first kill.
And that was such a good setup by Kevin. Notice how he knocked up 2 members from Gambit and just went in. Did all the damage he could, and then he flashed away. Didn't just instantly flash away from the gank. He got Diamond low, so it opened up for Curp to ghost up and going for the gank here. Oh, Connex coming to this bottom lane.
Here comes the next one. Genja gonna be slowed down. Cocoon has landed, and there's the finisher from Connex. Bomb coming down from the mid lane there, as well as Nick starts to move in. Barrel comes out of Edward. Critton's actually really, really low here. They need to be so careful of how they're gonna deal with this one. There's the jump away. The bomb was right on top of him. Good Cocoon from Connex. That means that they surely will get away. Edward was coming in. I thought they might have a go at tanking it. Decided against it though. Leaves it at 2-0 Millennium, and some free damage for Curp onto the mid tower.
A nice patient play by Connex. He moves in, doesn't fire the Cocoon from max range, just waits for the stun to land, eats a Cocoon afterwards, and managed to pick up the kill here. So good few minutes for Millennium. They had a slow start, didn't really see any ganks here. Diamond went top lane, backfired from Gambit, and now Connex down this bottom lane, picking up a kill for himself. Meanwhile, because Nick had to roam from the mid lane all the way down to the bottom side, it actually opened up for Curp to get quite some damage on the mid tower.
That 20 CS or so behind though. That of Nick is going to be getting the blue buff here though, thanks to Connex, who actually, because of that kill onto Diamond, managed to get himself a couple of buffs in there as well. So good little bit of play out of them. You see a nice little lead starting to open up actually for Millennium. There's Kuban again going in aggressive. Not sure he's got the damage to be thinking about getting a kill here onto Kevin. Kuban has got that catalyst now, so working himself up to that Rod of Ages to get a bit more tanky.
I would actually have loved to see some lifesteal on Kevin early on here, because Kuban is becoming so tanky, he can't really burst him down. He needs to just sit and farm. The lifesteal would negate a lot of the damage from Kuban, so he could always sustain himself and just stay in the lane and farm. For now, however, Connex once again down this bottom lane.
Landing actually the Cocoon there onto Edward, but he just barely slams away from that one. Diamond was waiting just around the corner there as well, and both junglers actually there. No kills coming out of it, but if we look how the CS has developed in this bottom lane, it was Genja, of course, that had the slight advantage on that one. That has since gone over to Creaton after that last kill came in, so Genja going to be fighting a bit of an uphill battle from this point on, but we see that both supports really been quite willing to get things started, especially when we see the jungle health coming down.
I also do see how tanky Edward is. Every single time they actually do poke him, he's like, yeah, don't care, go in. Lasted a minion for the Relic Shield heal, and then he just goes back to being good old Gragas. Curp, once again, taking a lot of poke here.
Oh, he's going for it.
Going for it again.
He's going to go for this one. His ultimate not available. In fact, I think he must have used that fairly early on in that little trade there. And in the end, no kill coming out of that one. Meanwhile, Kevin going aggressive here onto Kuban, but Diamond gonna come in from the backside. Kevin not expecting this one. Can he get away this time? No flash available to him. There's the ulti actually going through the minions once again, off towards his tower, but there is a dive in from Kuban, and Gambit get their first kill of the game.
And this time there was no curb to help Kevin, because he was back in base. He's gonna teleport down to his mid lane, however.
Oh, stun card lands. He's in the bush, but he's able to land them. There is a TP coming down behind him, but Nick's going to be already dead by the time Kuban gets there, and he can't do any more from that. Edward had roamed up as well. They might get some good damage onto his tower, especially now with Diamond coming in.
Jerry coming from the mid lane here, or coming from the bottom lane, into trying to defend the mid lane, and everyone simply backs away. A lot of action all of a sudden. Everything actually started from Nick, forcing Curb back in base, and then the gank happened up in the top lane. They made sure Curb couldn't counter gang it like he did before. Will, however, take this mid tower, at least get it even lower than before.
Go very low actually. His wildcard there just connecting onto Diamond, stunning him up, and that's a good amount of damage to Diamond underneath the turret, and that tower will be going down at some point in the near future. Meanwhile, Millenium have moved their bottom lane up. Junglers there, they're going to have a good go at Dragon. It's going to have to be a steal from Eddie. He's got a barrel available. Well, the Dragon being pulled right to the edge of the pit, smited out by Cottonex for the first one of the game. Going to Millenium.
And just a very easy Dragon call. First of all, Diamond was very low in the mid lane. Kuban had already used a teleport as well, so he wouldn't be able to join in. And now, once again, Kevin fighting with Kuban up in his top lane.
Fighting an ultimate.
Kuban always seems to just, when it's just standard trades, no ultimates used, at least not from Kevin. Kuban did use his. He actually wins out on the trade.
And does have that Rod of Ages now done, so a bit of additional power for him. We actually see a Cutlass coming out here for Kevin.
So we did see some extra lifesteal. Didn't only use the Dawn's Blades, and actually just wanted to sustain. I do believe last time he played Yasuo top lane against the Gragas, he did the same thing where he got a Blade of the Ruined King as the very first item, even though we normally see a static shift, simply to be able to one-on-one and just sit in that lane and keep farming, and then just use the teleport if he actually wants to join in for a fight.
So that bottom lane again pushed out by Creaton. Gone for the static shift first. Other side, the Phage has been picked up for Genja, obviously working himself towards that Trinity Force. But we are seeing now a bit of jungle participation down bottom. Creaton actually going a little bit low from that one. It might be J-Re though that's going out. Knock back there. Oh, flash away. Is the shield going to be enough? Summon heal was used as well. They're going to go up under the tower. They actually decide against it. And now Diamond in trouble. TP from Kevin comes down, and there's the kill. Millenium turning it on its head and may be able to get more here. There's the knockup. He's going in for Edwin. Down to less than half. Kevin underneath the tower, flashing away. Didn't feel confident with that one.
But meanwhile, Nick died just to Cottonex one-on-one here. I do think actually Nick was moving down to throw the bomb and was looking at the bot lane, didn't actually see his own character, and then Cottonex just jumped him and killed him here. But very nice response by Kevin, teleporting to the bot lane after J-Re flashed and then stand behind me over to Creaton to make sure he stayed alive. Kuban up in his top lane here. Kurt wants him.
Yeah, I'm actually going to tank up a couple of turret hits here as well, so Kurt will continue to chase. The gold card is pulled there. Is Ghost used by Kurt. Wild card's going to bring him real low. Ultimate used by Kuban, but I don't think it's enough. Final stun card comes in, and that is the third kill for Twisted Fate. 3-0-0 for Kurt.
And every single time Gambit tries to make a play, notice Nick here. He's not even looking at his own character. He's looking at the bot lane. Now he realized, oh, I'm in a pretty bad situation. Cottonex just called me out. And soloed by the jungler.
Oh, wow. That was so nicely done.
Points as well.
Yeah, that was very nicely done by Cottonex, just repelling up there to avoid the damage out of the ultimate. Leaves Millenium 6-1 up. And after such a slow start to this game, every lane farming up. We've seen those teleports coming in down to the bottom. And a gold lead of almost 5,000 has opened up here for Millenium. Of course, they have now got 2 towers on top of that first dragon from earlier.
And an early distortion upgrade on Kirk's boots here, which is very nice. Oh, Edward coming down towards his mid lane. Barrel denied by the wind wall.
Yeah, I don't think they got the damage. Actually, the ultimate used out of J-Re, but not really landing. Trying to set Kevin up maybe to do a little bit more damage after that, but didn't quite work out the way that they were looking for. Gambit just going to simply back off, and another blue buff will go over on towards Kerp.
And the best thing for Millenium here is the fact that Creaton could build static shift first item and just sit and farm. Sure, Gambit have tried to kill him a few times where Millenium then came down, counter-ganked it, but it's been all about Kerp and Cottonex and Kevin being part of all the kills, being part of all the ganks here, while Creaton has just been sitting and farming. And when you get static shift, it's simply just to skyrocket your way into the Infinity Edge and hit your 2-item point where you start becoming strong. Cottonex, however, he wants a piece of Kuban.
Oh, actually landing the cocoon there. May get turned around this one though, because Diamond's coming in. Ultimate going to be popped. Here is Diamond. Cottonex now realizing he's in all kinds of danger. Twisted Fate looking to move up into the top lane as well. Diamond will even the target. No, Eddie comes in from the backside. Kuban's gone low. Barrel comes out of Eddie and knocks him away from the ultimate of Nick. Kuban is low. Finished off by Kurt. And Kevin actually gets another one. And all of a sudden, Eddie on his own. Here comes Nick to get the shutdown on towards Kurt. And Kevin now will fight for his life. Can he kill off Edward? He's going to dive towards the tower. I don't think they'll have enough.
Oh,
that's a great
beautiful. Such nice play by Kevin here. Once again, Gambit, they go towards the top lane here. They want to counter-gang this time Millenium, and they just get turned around. Kerp teleports up here. They manage to pick up some kills, and we see some beautiful moves by Kevin. Will, however, still lose the tower. Look down his bottom lane. Millenium, they don't care. They can just take a second tower.
Yeah, push straight through on that bottom side of the map and got himself an inner turret. Leaves them 3-1 up on that front. And that 5,000 gold lead does stand. Let's have another look at that fight in the top lane.
Yeah, so Cotnex coming in here is actually him starting the gank. Diamond joins in. Remember, he evolves his W and max it, so his damage output in these fights are not as high as you normally see from a Kha'Zix. So once Curb joins in, even though it's actually 3 members from Gambit, they're not able to fight them. Unlucky, you knock Curb out of there. Zig's ulti here, but still, Diamond, he will go down. Wasn't able to jump in and join the fight. Another kill coming in for Millenium. And finally, Nick joins. Picks up a kill. So actually trading 2 for 2 here, but with 4 members from Gambit.
Look at this once again from Kevin. Got the knock up onto them both, and just it looked like it was going to be finished off the wind wall last second coming up for him. Brilliantly done by Kevin, and he's once again decided to finish off that Blade of the Ruin King as his first item.
It's smart against these tanks up in the top lane who can't 100% to zero him anyway. Therefore, he doesn't have to do this kind of fight we sometimes see with a Yasuo, where it's just all in each other, see who has the most damage for a few seconds, and then you have a winner. It's more like, okay, you can poke me, fine, I can just sustain and keep farming. And once again, he just joins in every time he has a teleport. Whenever he ran down to Dragon because Millenium wants to start it. Kuban coming in behind.
This could be dangerous. Kevin is coming in there as well. Who are they going to go for? Edward going to throw his barrel in. The bomb comes down as well from Nick. Kerp is pretty low and Creighton getting exhausted, but Kevin on the top side does manage to get one back to put him on a killing spree. Meanwhile, Kuban diving in again towards Kerp. There's the ultimate coming out of Creighton. Some of the heal's going to be used. Sapling thrown in. It was actually Diamond that got the kill in the end. And that leaves us with a 3 for 2 in favor of Gambit. Dragon didn't go down, crucially, as well.
But Millenium, they're not done yet here. Double buff Kevin. Seems like Gambit are actually done, so they're gonna move away from this Dragon. But such a nice fight. Kuban teleporting in behind. It is the very, very strong point about Maokai top lane. You already become very tanky early on in the mid-game points, and you can just engage in with your ulti, your damage reduction. Now it's on to Kevin.
Oh, Kevin has been completely outsmarted there, I'm afraid. We saw him coming down towards his bottom side. Diamond decided to stick around and, well, they just lured him in for what was an easy kill. And now Creighton a little bit too far back here. Still has that tower. Slow actually lands onto Creighton, and Gambit realizing that they couldn't really kill him, especially now with Kurt moving down. Destiny is available. Going to see another fight for Dragon.
Teleport is also available for Kevin. 10 seconds. But they don't actually start the Dragon, even though there's 5 members from Gambit. They need Kevin to respawn, then he can join in. Kuban is still fairly low. It could be an easy target for him if he jumps in.
Wildcards will do some decent damage from
Kevin behind them.
From Nick will hurt, and there is Kevin coming in from the backside. There is the first 2 kills. Creighton almost going down as well. The shutdown did come through though for Kerp onto Kuban. Will they trust themselves here to go for this fight? Kerp just gonna run amok and try and stop them from finishing off this Dragon, and neither team very safe about going for these Dragon kills. And in the end, it looks like Gambit actually going to back away again.
But all these fights have been around the Dragon, and nobody actually killed it yet. It's still alive. Everyone just like fight each other, move away from the Dragon, fight once again, and again they move away. Now everyone is back to base. Kevin up in the top lane without a teleport should mean Gambit can take this Dragon. If they do move, yeah, Kuban is moving straight from base here. But once again, the AoE damage from Gambit, if they do get onto Millenium and hit the bomb from Nick onto 2, 3 members, they instantly blow them off.
As the Dragon started off once again, it's gone low before, wasn't finished off last time, and no one really in range here. This is the Dragon going to Gambit. After 2 big fights, they finally win out on it.
And now Kevin is going to take the top tower. There's no teleport on Kuban to actually stop him, so Millenium trading Dragon for the top tower. Didn't want to deal any more with all this poke, all the AoE damage from Gambit. Now let's see. Again, Blade of the Ruin King on Kevin. So we might see him just stick to his lane and keep pushing it down. Still needs to be careful because it's so easy for Kuban to get onto him and just perma-slow him while Diamond can join in. And as long as they know where Kerb is, they should be able to chase him up, force a flash, or maybe even kill him.
We're seeing all that AoE damage once again, especially from Nick, who's just throwing everything at him. Does a lot of damage to multiple members. No one's particularly tanky on that team. You talked earlier on about Carnex actually going for the Golem first. Has actually gone into a bit more damage with Haunting Guys and Sorcerer Shoes.
Just mixing it up a little bit. He wants the Ancient Golem just to get some HP at least. Then he goes towards some magic damage, so he also actually can kill someone in these fights here, but he's got a bit of a mix of everything. Late game, Spirit of the Ancient Golem is very strong because you get 25% bonus HP from it, which means all the bonus HP you get from items or whatever it is will then scale up. So as long as he now gets some extra HP in the late game, he can become a tank, but not the same kind of tank as a Maokai. Also with the damage reduction. It's one thing Millenium will miss out on these late game team fights, which once again means they have to catch someone from Gambit out of position, blow them up instantly. I love to use the word blow them up. Destroy them instantly, and then they can actually win the fight. Otherwise, Gambit should be stronger in these 5v5s.
And just to give you an idea, that Ancient Golem's 25% bonus health is 160 HP right now, so definitely not masses of health coming from that one. We'll see, though, how it all works and which route CottonX actually decides to go. Meanwhile, Kubon is going to be coming back up to this top lane to face off against Kevin, who's now got that static shift, got a level advantage over Kubon as well. So needs to be just a little bit careful of how much he approaches Kevin, I think, here at this point.
I like how Diamond actually built Moby Boots simply to try and follow Kerp around or Kevin around when he teleports. And just move between the lanes here, hurry up to the top lane if he needs to try and kill Kevin. Otherwise, just move around his own jungle. So Moby Boots on his Kha'Zix and also helps him. As long as he doesn't take damage, he can keep kiting and landing the poke, which again, it's all about the poke here from Gambit.
Jeremy actually going to land his Q onto Dime, but probably needs to get away from it because Edward and Nick were both around there. Genja has gone into Genja mode, let's call it for now. Right back into that bottom lane, freezing it up and getting as much farm as he possibly can. We see 192 to 185 over Creatine. Let's keep track of the CS there as well, because the mid lane, we talked about that earlier with Nick having a big lead over Kerp after everything. That has now really evened up as Kevin going to actually get dove on here by Kubon. Let's see how much damage these two can actually do to each other in the end. There was the knock-up actually coming away, and that forces Kubon just to back off. And
Gambit, they have to either kill Kevin very, very fast or just move away from him. Otherwise, Kerp will join in with his Twisted Fate, and they've seen it before. Therefore, Kubon didn't chase, even though Diamond and Nick was actually moving towards the top lane to help him. And very early Baron here by Millenium, at least setting up for it, waiting to see if Gambit wants to face check.
Definitely.
Genji's still down the bottom lane.
Yeah, Genji's going to show himself. Actually, Diamond going to take a lot of damage. Bomb comes in, gets the one. Jerry might go down as well. He actually shielded a lot of that damage. Kevin coming across. There is the TP from Kubon. And finally, Genji has moved back up to them. So Millenium here may actually fall foul of this. Going to be at least forced away from Baron. Question is, with a 5-on-4, will Gambit trust themselves to actually start it?
Well, they do have a Cockmore, no blade however, so he won't take it down as fast as we normally see, but they do actually start it. 4 members from Millenium. Kerp is pushing this top lane now. He needs to join in. He needs to pop his ult as well. Because actually, never mind, they do have a ward in the pit, so no need for the ult.
Nick done so much damage to them there, but he's at half HP. Need to be careful as Edward is going to dive in there. The exhault's coming in on towards Kevin, but Kerp's at the backside as well. He's going to be throwing the carbs in left and right as Kevin gets an ulti up, but does go down straight away afterwards. CottonX, meanwhile, having to repel away from everything, and Gambit pretty low. Kerp's running low on mana here as well. Let's see if he can finish up. Oh, flash away. Actually going to pop his Destiny. Where's he going to go with it? Around the corner. Go shoot as well. Here comes Creatine. This could be the cleanup for Millenium. Creatine getting those resets off, and that is going to be a bit of a whitewash. Genja managed somehow to escape, and in the end, kills left and right.
So Gambit, or sorry, Millenium, they stayed, even though there were 4 members here. Gambit started the Baron. There was a very low amount of mana on Kubon. He couldn't really do anything in the fight other than just engage it, and then Millenium just bought time. Creatine came back in, and in the end, he cleaned it up. Very ballsy teleport from Kerp. But still, it worked. Got a lot of damage onto Gambit. We're just going to see it again here. Notice how Kubon, after he goes in, his mana is very low. He's now done from the fight pretty much, but he's still tanking up all the damage from Millenium. He's doing a very good job. Genji in the back, full mana, full HP, hammering away on people. But now, it's not about killing anyone anymore. It's just about buying time and poking them down. Notice how Creatine on the red buff from Millenium is running down to join the fight. Edward just survives here, and then Kerp goes in. That's a manly move. 4 people, no hourglass, you have no mana left. Just buying time. Creatine joins in, takes some kills.
Able to get that double in the end. Genja actually walked off in the opposite direction as well. There's the blue buff just going to be giving over to Nick Diamond, tanking it up until his mid laner came across. In all of that big crazy fight around Baron, the Dragon has respawned and Millenium are onto that one. He's going to go very low. Here comes the bomb though. Smited out nicely by Cottonex. Goes over to Millenium for a second time.
I really love how both these teams are just constantly looking for objectives or fights. They don't just go back to a laning phase. The first 5 minutes, standard lanes, then we got the first ganks, and all of a sudden, everyone just wanted to be part of some kind of fight. We've seen quite some team fights already, also going very back and forth. In the end though, Millenium with the Dragon, with the goal lead, and a very, very twisted fate at this point.
7-3-3. If you can't get in and do the damage though, that might be a bit of a moot point, whether you've got 7 or 70 kills. If you're going to get taken down straight away, could be a problem for Millenium. We'll have to see how that one all works out. We were talking earlier about Carnex and how he decided to go in for a bit more damage. He's gone for a Banshee's Veil here. Obviously it makes sense. There's all that damage is really coming in from Nick there.
Pretty much everything from Gambit is actually magic damage, except for the poke from Diamond, and then you have the auto attacks from Genji. But there's a lot of magic damage on the side of Gambit here, and also makes it even harder for Nick to instant blow up people, as you just mentioned before, and of course means the poke from Edward onto someone like Cotnex suddenly means nothing because he's not building any AP in this Gragas here. So it makes a lot of sense. Could still go for some attack speed slow if he wants to try and shut down some of the damage from Genji. Frozen Heart wouldn't be the ideal option because you have Spirit of the Ancient Golem, so you would need a Randon's Omen simply to get the extra HP to get the bonus from Ancient Golem.
Let's have a look at some of the other items here. The AD carries Infinity Edge and that Shiv from earlier done now for Creatine. Got a Vamp Scepter as well, so see where he goes with that. Genja on the other side. Trinity Force is done. He's going to be going Infinity Edge by the looks of it next, with the BF Sword and Pickaxe already picked up. But you see here both teams having still a couple of men around Baron, and they're just moving in and out, constantly clearing each other's wards while the rest of the team are off farming.
A bit risky from Genji though, going straight into Infinity Edge. No Blade, so at least give him some health for the instant heal, and then also the move speed to try and kite around, because there's not a whole lot of protection if Millenium managed to just jump towards him. There's no Lulu to save him, no Black Shield from Morgana. It's all about the minefield from Nick to kind of slow them. And then maybe if Edward stays with him with his own ulti and then knocks whoever jumps him away. But it really opens up for Millenium to target Genji in these fights, especially if he has no flash. Curb can just jump in. He does complete an Hourglass as his next and last item. He can then jump towards him, stun him, set up something for the rest of the team to slow Genji up.
Nick has now added a Void Staff in there as well, Death Cap, and the themes for him. Actually got a Negatron Cloak now as well, so maybe going a little bit more defensive after getting his core items. Also a Void Staff added in for Curb on top of everything else, Lich Bane included. So Millenium again move towards Baron. See that almost all 10 members are bunched up. Only Maokai not really with the team there. He's going to be pushing out this bottom lane. Let's not forget that Gambit only had 2 towers away so far. The top outer and the middle outer. Bottom is still standing, but look at this. Millenium are starting it again.
There's no ward from Gambit to even spot them start this Baron here. They do, however, move in. There we have the ward from Edward. And Millenium once again backs away from the Baron. Goes back into this mid lane now and pushing it down. We could see a team fight. Kuban on the side here, if he can engage onto Curb or Creatine, to try and kill him, because Curb, due to him going Lich Bane, there's no Hourglass.
Yeah, no Hourglass in there for the extra protection and the ability to, I mean, the Hourglass would have been kind of perfect for him in that last fight to delay a little bit longer when he TP's right in next to the entire team.
And we could, of course, say instead of the Death Cap, we could go on Hourglass. Lich Bane is pretty standard, and Twisted Fate, so it was a bit of a wrong.
I mean, he's got 560 AP now, so whilst he might not have the highest amount of protection, he's going to kill people very, very quickly. As again, we see the Destiny going to be used. Where's he gone? He's actually gone towards Diamond here in the jungle, but there we see it. A lot of damage coming his way. Eddie's going to bring him in, and Nick will get the kill. Kevin, meanwhile, will be the next focus, and what's he going to do? He flashes away. Knockup goes on to 2. Kevin decided not to use his ulti. Here is Nick moving in with the rest of the team. Summoning heal used as well, and Creatine managing to walk off, but will Gambit be able to pull one more man down? There is the repel, and Gambit, are they going to keep chasing this one? That's a nice slow actually coming in the end. I think Millenium should be out of this one.
Alright, alright, but we did see Kerb go in. He wants to just single out a member from Gambit, but because no hourglass and he didn't have the damage to actually kill Diamond, I believe the heal came in onto him as well.
Yeah.
And he actually managed to stay alive. Nothing happened from it, however. No Baron, no Dragon. Just gone back again to wait it out. Edward did, however, actually get into this Baron pit now. Clear the pink ward. Scary stuff from Kerb, however. Whenever he goes in, he needs to get the kill and then get the hell out of there. Otherwise, the damage will collapse on him.
Well, he definitely tried to get out of there, but used both Ghost and Flash in that one. Was still caught out and picked off. It leaves the kills at 14, 13, 33 minutes into it. And the gold, not a massive difference between the two teams. 3,500 basically in favor of Millenium. We're going to have another Dragon coming up in 22 seconds. Fights obviously in the last few minutes have all been around the Baron area. We'll see if then they both decide to collapse in towards the Dragon. In fact, Gambit are coming out of the base here and may move towards it.
However, Creaton is sitting in the top lane farming, so it's only 4 members from Millenium, and they are still staying around this Dragon. He needs to run with his very small legs down to join the team, otherwise Gambit can engage.
Well, they are starting to push Millenium away. Creaton still miles off the fight. Gotta try and get in there as quickly as possible. Kevin's actually down pushing that bottom lane as well, so Gambit, they've actually waited this one out quite a while. Gonna start the Dragon off, but you can see they're a little bit scared of this one. Wondering where the rest of the Millenium team are going to come from. Poke coming through there from the barrels and those bombs from Gragas and Ziggs. And the Dragon goes back to bed. Starts regenning again. Gambit do though. Pull it out once again. Kerb actually will move away. Does have Destiny though, so he can come back in. There's
ulti for Nick to actually clear the wave down his bottom lane, but he wants to use it for the team fight, so he's not really in a position to do it, which means Kerb, he might just take a tower and trade it for the Dragon here. Millenium, however, still staying around.
Oh, Gambit do get it there. It's actually a Cogmore auto attack that finishes it off. Kerb is down the bottom. Has he got the damage here to finish it off? TP is coming in, and he's not got enough damage. Kerb will actually get away from this one, and as he sees the sapling coming out, he's going to Destiny out. They're going to go for this fight here. Once they pulled Kuban away with that teleport, but Millenium not looking strong enough. Kuban has now managed to walk up there with the rest of the team. Group slow as well from Diamond. Kuban dives into the back. Jerry going to be the easy target on the backside, and that's one kill. Can they get any more? Diamond jumps in, not got the range on the Void Spike, so that's 1 for nothing. And Gambit looking to push mid here, possibly.
Second fight in a row where it's 1 for nothing for Gambit, and it's always Millenium trying to start the fight. Gambit then joins in as a group, gets a kill, and we just saw the slow from Diamond here. Once you can actually catch people, multiple of them at once, Gambit can chase, and they can keep getting on to you here. So, got a kill. And once again, we just kind of go back and we wait for the next move. Gambit are waiting for Millenium to make a move on the map and then try and punish them for it. Baron should be the next target for whatever team wants to actually set it up. If Gambit moves in now, gets a lot of good wards, gets some wards inside the jungle of Millenium, they can start doing the poke and the zoning we saw down here at the Dragon. And if they do get Millenium low enough, should be an easy Baron for them.
We see Negatron cloaks across the board here as well now for Gambit. In fact, all 5 members have got a Negatron cloak sat in their inventory. There is the Destiny use. Where's he going to go? Where's he going to come up? Actually, will catch Edward out, loses half of his health. Wind Wall goes in, but again, Destiny for just some damage onto Edward. Will that be enough here to secure Millenium the Baron?
They're standing on a ward, however, so Gambit knows everything which is going on in this Baron pit, and they're going in for the fight.
Diamond actually waiting off to the side, may decide to jump in a little while. He's going to go very, very low. There is Diamond trying to get in. It's Millenium that get it. They get the Baron, but what is he going to pay for it? They've lost one man already. Cornex actually missing his jump over, and that's 4 men down for Millenium. Only Kerb actually surviving that one, running right on the backside. To be honest, Millenium are in trouble here. Gambit can push straight up this mid lane.
Gambit is so strong in these fights here, especially when Millenium are grouped up around a Baron. You just go and you land all the AoE damage from Gambit. They pick up so many kills and are pushing on. This is going to be an inhibitor.
Well, those turrets going down incredibly fast. Only Twisted Fate will be up to actually try and save this one with his wild cards. Needs to be careful that Gubon doesn't decide to just flash and jump straight onto him, lock him up for the rest of the team to finish off, but they push through. Kerb staying at a good distance from this one, landing some wildcard damage, but the first inhibitor is going to go Gambit's way.
And it also really hurts Millenium. They don't have a tank. Let's just see the fight again. 3 members from Millenium caught in the pit here. Nick's ulti hits perfectly onto them. Kevin tries to jump onto Gambit. Instantly exhausted here. He's not able to take anyone down. I believe he actually jumped Edward while Genji was next to him because there's no knockable on Genji here. So nothing worked for Millenium in the last fight. They were caught inside the Baron pit. They didn't get a knockable onto Genji. He was left completely untouched. And then you lose the team fights.
Well, Kurt has got the Baron buff on still, so that's one person. Well, that mid lane could cause them a few problems and may even pull a bit of insecurity out of Millenium as well now after they lost that one so badly. See how they decide to fight in the future. Gambit, by the way, have taken the gold lead at this point, albeit by a small amount.
And I know we have talked about it earlier in the game, the lack of hourglass from Kerp. He's building it now, but it's way too late. He was so far ahead. If it's gonna be DFG. Still, he was very far ahead earlier in the game, and now Gambit, 61%. People believe. And they are playing well, really punishing Kerp again for his lack of hourglass. He could have built it so many minutes ago, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes ago, because he had the gold, he had the kills, and then he could just keep engaging fights, land a stun, pop the hourglass, and Millenium could join in, boom, kill, easy peasy.
If you look down some other items, Kubon's turned his Negatron Cloak into an Abyssal Scepter as he dives right into the middle of them. See, Guardian Angel was finished off by Genja. We'll see what direction Nick goes with it. I could see him being the next in line for a Guardian Angel as well, and then it becomes a lot harder for Millenium to really deal with this team. We've got 1.5 minutes until the next Dragon comes up, but I feel that Gambit may be looking for towers here, and hard to defend really when you've got a full power Ziggs just hammering away at your backline.
But now it does actually pay off. You have so much AP on your Twisted Fate because you can instantly play the waves here. However, Gambit will actually get some damage on the tower, long range from Genji and Nick here. And these teamfights from Millenium, they just have to completely change tactic. Kerb needs to stay with Creaton now in the backline, because at the moment Kuban jumps onto Creaton and he's forced to just hit Kuban every single fight, and he can't take him down fast enough, while the rest of Millenium, they dive onto Gambit and they just die way too fast. Genji can kill them, you have all the damage coming in from Nick as well. So Kerb can't really jump in any longer. He needs to stay with his AD carry, and those two just need to work together, lock down a target, instant kill this target, and then move on to the next.
Going underneath the tower there, it was actually Genja that was tanking it out. Doesn't really seem to care. They get in there, they pick up their 6th of the game, further their gold lead. Meanwhile, Millenium having to deal with these super minions that are streaming into the base now. It's Creaton that's being brought back to actually deal with them. He's now picked himself up that Bloodthirster. What are Gambit's next moves? Top lane, of course, still, or is the only lane with a turret outside of the base left standing. However, they took that last dragon, and they're going to go for another one.
Bloodthirster here. I get he wants to have the shield, all the re damage or the ulti coming in from Nick, but Last Whisper would really help him against Kuban here. But again, it's all about Creaton killing Kuban because he's the guy jumping him every single fight. No less, never mind. Just completed the Last Whisper. Just had all the gold in his backs. And now he has it. So now it makes a lot of sense.
Able to pick that one up. What are the other items? We see a locket actually finish for Edward. Nick has not actually done anything with his Negatron Cloak up until now. Does have almost 2,000 gold to spend as well. That will, if you look, still a couple of thousand gold overall behind that of Kerp. That mostly comes from that early game where Kurt was able to move successfully around the map with his Destiny, I think 3 times when he in the early stages. Gambit slowing things down. I feel like Baron again is probably going to decide the outcome of this game. That's coming up in 2 minutes.
And we do see Gambit actually move around the jungle of Millenium. Doesn't really place any wards, however. So probably going to delay them about a minute and place them when the Baron is about to spawn and try and do the same as we have seen him try and do before, where they zone out Millenium and poke them. And we do actually finally get an hourglass of Kerp here. Time jump in, now Kerp can go in.
Kerp going straight into the back, actually singling out Kuban. There's the knock-up, they're throwing everything at Kuban. He is finally going to go down, but half a Millenium low there as well. Kerp almost being blown up, and there is Diamond coming in from the side. They've been split up. Creaton actually trying to get onto the turret there. Can they actually catch up with him? Kerp so low at the back, and Genji Genja was trying to get in there. Jerry will be the target and will go down as well. Diamond now on a rampage from that, and they see the turret is going to fall. Millenium can't defend.
But such a hero death by Coupon here. He tanked 5 members, he got them low, did a lot of damage, and then the rest of Gambit just joins in, picks up a kill, get the tower, and Genja still, he has the Guardian Angel, he has a red buff, he's more than happy to stay.
Doing so much damage at range there with his ultimate. We see wards being cleared out. The mid-wave was pushed and that inhibitor is respawned. Look at this, Genja, Nick, both towards the turret there. And as the wind wall comes up, no minions as well to help them out. They decide to just back off from it. Maybe time to get some vision down. We see those sweepers all in action there. Just trying to make sure they've got full control of this top side of Millenium's jungle in anticipation for baiting them into this next Baron.
And if you do look at the game Gambit are playing right now, compared to the game yesterday against Copenhagen Wolves, it's actually the same players we really see perform well. Genja's had a good game, but it's been all about Nick and Coupon, in my opinion. Coupon has been playing really well. He played Gragas yesterday, now he's playing Maokai, really adapting to the new picks. And then Nick on Ziggs, same thing yesterday. Laning phase, bit slow. He did outfarm Curb, but then as soon as he got to team fights, he just picked up all the kills and did all the damage.
We saw that goal difference over time graph as well, with Millenium having such a good time of it. Pretty much the entire game, the last 10 minutes that has swung around, and Gambit hold themselves that slight lead. And now they're going to try and bring Millenium into another fight around that Baron area. We're going to see wards cleared out, so Millenium have to start moving to this one. They have to get in there for the wards, and that may be dangerous for Jerry. Going to take a sapling, but will get a ward over. And actually, Diamond decides he's going to jump in for this one. Slows all around and couldn't actually finish off a kill onto him, but Millenium have to be real careful about how they go about this. Kerp, of course, does have Destiny, so he can just jump right into the backlines. Does have that Guardian, sorry, not Guardian Angel, that Zhonya's Hourglass, and he does use the Destiny as well. Where's he going to go? He's gone now.
He's not going nowhere. Simply to see if Gambit actually started the Baron, and Diamond was simply baiting by jumping on towards Jerry. Seems for now though. Gambit moving away from the Baron, even though they just got the Destiny pop, and Kerb is actually moving towards his bottom lane. As soon as he shows himself, Gambit can go instantly to the Baron. He's actually going to blue buff, not the bottom lane, sorry. And there's no wards from Gambit, so they don't actually know he's gone. They do however know there's no ult.
No ultimate for him. Dangerous. If there was a ward there, you'd expect Gambit just to turn around and go straight in towards that Baron.
100%.
Not the case this time though. Kerp not spotted doing that, and now has a blue buff as he comes in towards a possible Baron fight. Already going to be started off. It's going to take Maokai about 4 years to do Baron on his own. Probably would survive it, that's how tanky he is at this point though. And there we go. Gambit turn back around, start to move in for it. Destiny still not off cooldown. They're going to throw everything out to Edward, actually trying to keep them away. We've got Diamond fighting Continex off to the side. Diamond actually having to jump away from that one, and Gambit stopped here from doing the Baron. Will they be able to catch anyone out? Looked like they were going for Kevin there. Kuban actually uses his ultimate very preemptively. And then we'll back away. Of course, his ultimate cooldown is literally half a minute, not even that, just a few seconds at this point. And Millenium here making a bit of a positional play possibly to move in towards this inner turret in the middle lane. Finished off easily, was already low, and they walk away, bullying Gambit away from Baron and get themselves that tower. However, bottom lane is pushed up heavily onto the inhib turret.
Someone needs to go and deal with it. Kevin does have his teleport, there's ulti on Kerb as well. Someone does have to go back, clear it. Does seem however like the minions actually doing a lot of damage on the tower. The Millenium minions are here to save the day. And Gambit once again started, there's a ward, didn't actually get it with the sweeping lens.
Just off to the side, so Millenium have full vision of this one. Gambit gonna spot Kevin coming around the side. There's the Destiny pot coming onto the top side. Baron is already low. It's gonna go over to Gambit though, and now Millenium in trouble. Cornex will be the first target. What can Kerb do? He's stunned up Nick there, but Kuban again is tanking the entire team. It's a double kill for Diamond in the back. There is Genja getting another one, and Kerb will fall as well. Only Creatine left alive. He's running back towards Gambit's base, and Gambit are just gonna run in and try and win.
They have to send Kuban back to defend her because there is minions at the towers. Only Creatine alive. Gambit, you have time. Just go straight for the base.
And that's what they're going to do. We see the recall coming in. Look at this TP actually from Kuban onto the bottom lane. He's just going to go charging through with those home guards. Tanks up the turret, no problem for him to do that. And surely Creatine can't hold on to this one. Kuban can tank both of these Nexus turrets all day long. And there they go, Gambit moving in. Creatine going to try his best, but they're going to kill him off straight away. So the Ace Genji are actually getting that kill to put him on 4-1-12. And as the Nexus turret falls, Gambit are going to take down Millenium. And still within reaching distance of a tie, possibly with the Copenhagen Wolves for 7th.
And in this game here, Gambit, they had a great team fight. They had a great comp simply to zone away Millenium. Everything Millenium wanted to do was just pick people off left and right. It didn't work, because every time Curb tried to go in, there was no Hourglass to protect him. Gambit survived, turned it back on him, kept getting a few kills, and in the very end, it was just all about 5 versus 5 team fights, where Gambit were a lot stronger than Millenium.
This is a team that have found their form recently, Millenium, and Gambit, you know what, picking up a solid victory against them again. I'm not sure what's changed in these last 2 weeks. Maybe it really is that the pressure is off completely for Gambit, but they've come together as a team so well.
Maybe it's just getting some synergy going. I mean, all you need is one good week of scrims. All of a sudden, the confidence comes back up. You start trusting in each other. It seems to me like Kuban, at the moment, the team trusts in him. When he calls, I'm going to TP in, they know it. They're ready for it. When he wants to engage the fights, the rest of Gambit, they follow instantly. And of course, the man on your screen we just had before, now we have 2 beautiful men. What's Diamond? 8 kills on Kha'Zix. Maybe not the champion where he goes in and just instantly blows up people because he involves his W first. But the amount of times he just lands it, pokes, and makes sure Millenium can never engage or disengage, really set up a lot of kills as well for Gambit here.
So where was the problem for Millenium? Because they had a full-on grasp of that game. We saw the goal difference over time, and it was red pretty much right up until the last 15, 20 minutes possibly. By the end, we saw Kerp, we talked about Kerp already, that he got that Zhonya's Hourglass very, very late. Could have bought it early on because he did get off to such an amazing start.
And then also the first few team fights we had, Millenium was standing as a group. So whenever Nick threw his ultimate or Kuban went in, all the AoE damage from Maokai and Ziggs just exploded at once onto Millenium. A lot of members either dropped very low or died, and Gambit actually did really well in these team fights here. And then Millenium completely stopped split pushing. We constantly saw them run together as a group, which is what Gambit wants to do, because then it's very easy for Gambit to avoid being caught out of position. And then whenever Kerp wanted to catch someone, backfired, and therefore Gambit simply got too strong for Millenium to deal with, and they won the game.
I have to give credit here to Kuban as well, because
100%.
He played so amazingly. 6-5, 13 by the end. Beastly tank, even bought a Thornmail as his last item in there, and he's really stepped up for Gambit these last few games.
He's playing really well. He got a lot of flack in the start, but people didn't really like his playstyle. Now with Maokai and Gragas as his new champions, looks very good.
Incredible stuff. Another win for Gambit, so let's go down to Shox on stage for Nick's take on that Gambit victory.
Thank you very much, Joe. Congratulations, Nick. That's a second victory for Gambit here in Super Week. Talk me through the game from your perspective. Incredibly close once again.
Yeah, like I played this game versus Twisted Fate, which is much more comfortable for Ziggs, I guess. I took Kerp flash a few times, I think 2. I did some mistakes dying, but in the end, Kerp didn't build defensive items enough, and we cuffed him like a few times, and this transitioned quite well to us gaining the lead that let us basically close the game.
Yeah, you definitely set up together with Kuban in this game, and it is actually clear that team play-wise, Gambit has been a lot stronger this week. So tell us, what has changed for you guys? Why have you guys improved coming into this week?
I think basically some guys went with they like know right now what was wrong. They started to listening much more to advices from our analysts, from other players, and I think it will be okay.
You think it will be okay? Thank you very much. Congratulations once again.
Okay, thank you too.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, it's an old school dust-up between Fnatic and SK Gaming. Stay tuned.
Where's he going to go with it? Around the corner. Goes, shoots as well. Here comes Creatine. This could be the clean-up for Millenium. Creatine getting those resets off. He's going to go very, very low. There is time to try and get in. It's Millenium. wait for it. They've lost one man already. Karnak actually missing his jump over. Karnak will be the first target. What can Kirk do? He's stunned up Nick there. But Kuban again is tanking the entire team. It's a double kill for Diamond in the